Well, we can cover this while she's moving about because it sounds like she has a wireless headset. Um, whilst let's see here, what happened last episode? You finished up in the temple and the glassworks situation. You returned to the inn where you finally got your merciful long rest and gained a level. uh in the morning, you awoke to a missive that had arrived outside of Ray's room in the form of a letter folded into an origami bird capable of flying on its own, which Vert noticed because, like a creeper, he was sleeping on the roof.
Yes.
um, you took the missive, you read it, you learned that it was from Duke Dillard Portier. You went to visit the gentleman, and he introduced you to his niece, and you had a very long conversation over breakfast with him and Lyra about the future of the refugees, the future and safety of Baldur's Gate itself, the things that both of them hoped that you would be able to accomplish for them, and what you hoped to accomplish yourselves. You put forth concern on the matter of the refugees and getting them like a better place to like live and stay in the meantime, which they agreed to. And then you went and spoke with the refugees themselves and kind of pawned the Duke off on Vasha Hall so that those two insufferable people could talk to one another while you made some arrangements. And then you sent uh, young Rhea on to do a bit of surveillance of the bathhouse that you learned about, while the rest of you took a bit of a side trip through a magical door into a pocket dimension, I believe. Um, and once again, to characterize the space, you step into Nibirius Octokizaran's office, and it is like an octagonal room with the entrance that you come through is on like the south wall. The north wall features like a large like well decorated like roaring fireplace with a carved wooden mantelpiece with a few bits and bobs sitting on top of it, and above that there's this large portrait of an angel with blackened wings, which you know to be Zariel now, flying high over a battlefield of devils and demons warring with one another, like holding her blackened iron mace outstretched. Um, and then on the western and eastern walls, you have like bookshelves and other small bits of art and like hanging swords. There are a few like suits of armor on stands around the room. And then the diagonal walls that are in between the cardinals are like that kind of old style of like double pane window that you can like split open in the middle and like kind of like push outward so that you could like lean out and look out. And one of those windows appears to look out over Baldur's Gate, while another window appears to look out over like a charred crater. With a kind of like destroyed village riven by cracks in the earth and fire that looks somewhat familiar as the place where your adventure began. And then yet another one of the four windows seems to look out over this kind of like endless plain of red Martian like desert and like erupting like columns of fire, and that window is open and there's a hot breeze blowing in with kind of like a light sulfurous scent. um and then the last window just has the curtains drawn over it. um and in the middle of this room there's like the chairs and kind of like the coffee table that was there before, and like I said, there is a business card holder now sitting on the coffee table next to the tray of treats and like teacups and the kettle. And there are what appears to be three more of the business card that you have already torn previously sitting in it, and next to that is a jar that is just labeled tips. And then beyond that, there's a desk that Nibirius was like busily sitting at, like writing something on like a contract or in a journal or something. And as you enter, he stands and he gives you this kind of toothy grin, and he's like, "Ah, it's good to see you again, though it had only been perhaps a few days. To me, it had felt like weeks since last we spoke. Please, sit." Hmm?
Which one?
That sword?
The sword.
Lord.
Okay.
Is it in your attacks?
You haven't made an attack for it. Let me look at your character sheet real quick. Yeah, you would just need to add like a longsword attack or whatever. Basically, because for all intents and purposes, it is a longsword, right? So that just it overcomes damage reduction as a magic weapon. So
Does that mean it's also a +1?
it is not a +1. It is specifically just magical for the purposes of damage reduction at the moment. No, it should have. Yeah, that looks right. But yeah, while he's fiddling with that stuff, like I said, he invites you to come in and sit in the plush chairs around the coffee table, and steps out from behind his desk, and he kind of like clasps his gloved hands behind his back, and he regards you all carefully, and he's just like, "What can I do for you? What brings you to my office?"
I think Bo had things he wanted to buy.
Although Bo had things he wanted to talk about with Siani, but like if people want to buy shit, it was just
Yeah, because
like,
I remember last time you had talked about wanting to like maybe trade
we
in
wanted to
some
get
of your
some-
treasure, get some healing potions,
yeah.
like. And like this doesn't have to
Give me
be
a second.
like, oh yeah, okay, sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'll be 1 second.
Oh no,
and I'll
that's fine.
be back.
Right, so I guess I'll just sit there talking with Siani about like the fucking dreams I've been having. And you know,
Yeah, you're talking about
this
You
weird
let-
feeling I get when I've been using this dagger, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
right, yeah.
yeah, he's got that dagger in his hands, like he's constantly playing with it. Now he's
Yeah.
telling you he's having weird dreams.
So, sorry, 1 sec.
It's all good.
We're all over the place today, guys.
All right.
No, my hair is so caught in my headphones.
Oh no.
I know those feels.
It's fucking pulling.
Did you add your proficiency?
Probably because you aren't as strong as you are dexterous.
Are we having this conversation in Nibirius' office as an aside while they're all doing stuff, or?
Yeah, like
Pretty
I
much, yeah,
assumed,
like,
I
I'm
assumed
just
that.
sitting there having a drink with you, and I've been like bringing this up these fucking dreams and like these weird feelings I would have in the last battle when I was using this knife, and
Okay.
like not really registering the fact that there's something sketchy about the knife, but I'm starting to have feelings about it.
And at that, Evasa would perk in that
We're doomed.
sort of /interested/concerned way and say, "Is it talking to you?"
No. I just get the urge when I stab some people sometimes that I want to kind of like slit them open and bathe in their blood, but that's normal, right?
No, Bo, no, that's not normal.
Oh, oh no.
And she's
Oh,
just
no.
sort of gonna like frown and like, then noticing how possessive he's being with the dagger, the fact that he's constantly fiddling with it, she's gonna ask if she can see it and see what his reaction is.
uh, look with your eyes and not your hands, I guess.
Really, Bo? You're gonna say that to someone?
Yeah, that's my fucking knife, right? Fuck off.
So, Knife is wanting to make him bleed, breathe. Bleh. Words.
I
I said bleed, not breathe. Where the fuck's your head at?
Lol.
And he doesn't want to now release it from his touch, and yeah, this is all signs of some sort of weirdly possessed weapon, and this is the reason she happily gave that thing up in the first place, because the whole thing felt like an abomination to her. But at this point, it's turned into something outright concerning. So she's just gonna sit there with the wheels turning, and like, she's of two minds. One, she wants to talk to Lucina about it, and the other is that maybe Nibirius would have some more information on that particular weapon.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and like you,
And
I imagine maybe you were like kind of like having that conversation like while you were walking away from the refugees, right? And then like you're
yeah,
kind of like finishing it up as you kind of like walk into Nibirius's office, and so he's like told you all to sit down, and he's like pouring like tea for everybody like one at a time. Like he starts by like giving the first cup to Lucina, and then kind of like works his way around, and he's just like, and again like it's that kind of like is there anything I can help you with? Items I can procure? Changes that I can make? Alterations, perhaps? And he, like, looks, like, directly at you, Vert, when he says alterations and kind of, like, draws the word out and just lets it hang in the air.
Yes. Yes. I require this. And I like pull the rifle out and like swing it around and like almost hit Bo in the face, but he's a monk, so he ducks, and maybe I accidentally hit, Ray in the shoulder with it. Yeah.
Right.
This. Do you know what this is?
Yeah, and you kind of like hold the weapon. Do you like point it at him, or are you just like holding it in both hands?
I have no idea what a gun is, so yes.
Okay, so you're holding it correctly, but you're like pointing it directly at him, and Nibirius
Yes.
just like reaches out like very slowly and puts one fingertip to the end of the barrel and carefully pushes the barrel away and like down to the side
Yes.
and just looks at it, and he's like, "Ah, I see. You seem to have come into possession of a Lantanese smoke powder rifle. How do you like it?"
I have never seen anything more beautiful in my entire life. Its destructive capabilities are fascinating.
Yes.
He's just very excited about his new toy. I'm sure it'll be fine.
No, he
guess there's
loves the devils. Loves them.
He hunts the devils because he loves them. He's the yandere
He's the
devil hunter.
Yandere fucking legend.
Listen. He's more like a marine biologist, right? Like, yeah, he goes and he fishes, and then he dissects the fish and figures out how do.
But
How can I get that?
right, and yeah, he's like, yes, their destructive capability is quite impressive. The way I hear it told, the knowledge of their production was a gift from the god Gond, specifically to their people.
I don't much like that, but I love this.
Well,
I don't care where it comes from, as long as it helps me be stronger.
well, at least your motivations are unvarnished and simple. If you require assistance in improving the weapon, I can certainly write up a few specs, perhaps. A simple contract for modification work.
Did he say contract?
Maybe.
I don't like
This is a
contracts.
hard question of enthusiasm overriding aversion.
Hmm.
How much do you
Or
want?
not.
How much?
I want it smaller, but not this one. I like this one, but I want a different one that's perhaps smaller. Hallways, you see. We had to go through many hallways in our last endeavor, and I do not like hallways.
So you need something more portable, something
Yes.
something that you can wield at the length of your arm without having to worry about impacting your fellow travelers. Something more fashionable, perhaps.
I'm
Something
not so much worried.
quieter.
I'm not so much worried about them, but the other things, yes.
Face palm.
Yeah, and he kind of like does regard you out of the corner of your eye, or his eye, when you say quieter, Siani, and he's like, ah, yes, I do understand that these weapons tend to make quite the thunderous report, do they not?
Would you
That
like
is
to
an
hear it?
understatement. No!
He
No.
kind of like motions towards the open window that's clearly looking out over the plains of hell, and he's just like, if your obsession requires that you discharge your firearm, please, toward the window.
At which point, Annie will stuff her fingers in her ears.
Love it. Perfect. Discharge my firearm, get my load off.
Deafness is one of the simpler problems to cure, Good Ray. But the point is taken.
Very well. But yes, smaller, but with the same, how do you say, Master Bo, punch.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I can arrange for a similar amount of damage in a smaller
Veer has no
package.
concept of ballistics. He just wants it to go pew.
Right. But, well, I think I might be able to work something out, but let me not ignore my other obligations, Master Vernt. And he kind of like turns and he regards like, oh, let's say like Bo and Siani next. He's like, it seemed as though when you entered you were engaged in some deep concerning conversation. Anything to which I might provide aid?
So
Cuffs knife? Nope, no, don't know
at
what you're
this
talking about.
point, Sandy's still got her fingers in her hair, but noticing she's being looked at, she'll take them out and be like, "What?"
Yes, I was remarking upon the look of concern you were wearing on your face when you entered my office in regards to your halfling fellow. Is there a problem? Has he
Possibly.
soiled the sheets, or
At this, Sandy will pause, sort of puzzled, like wondering why that exactly would be her concern. But would you show him your knife?
Stabby, stabby. Yeah, there's my knife. And I'll hold
do
it
you
up.
do you take it out of like the sheath, or do you just like
Yeah,
hold up
I'll
the?
I'll take out the sheath and hold it up, and
Yeah.
like,
So
And to
so
which
for
she'll follow up with, "Can you explain what nature of weapon this is?"
Yeah, so for the refresher for everyone, like it is this like kind of like weirdly shaped bladed dagger athame, I think. Where like the metal is that kind of like strange, like slightly greenish steel that you know to be like Stygian metal or whatever from like the Nine Hells, because it resembles like the soul coins in a lot of ways, but it's like a much more like mirror sheened metal, and then like the hilt is like made out of like some kind of like black horn that has been like augmented with like fire blackened like metal rings and rivets. And he kind of like looks at it for a moment when you show him, and he quirks an eyebrow, and he's just like, wherever did you find that?
we got it off of one of the people that tried to kill, or the person that tried to kill Hank.
Do you remember the first murderer we found?
Was
The
it from
one
that?
that
I thought
tried
it
to
was.
kill Hank and Tilly?
Yeah.
Did succeed in killing Tilly? It was found on
Oh,
her person.
you stole it from that cultist.
Yeah.
It's not the first one we've seen.
And he's got this like a
Or it was the
big,
first one we've seen.
he gets this like a big toothy smile on his face, and he's just like, that's delightful. And he just got, and he's like, tell me, Master Ball, have you stabbed yourself with it?
No.
Oh
Stabbed other
no.
people with it. It's fucking great.
Ah, well, I think he's still fine then.
Wait, what?
You might want to relinquish that blade, however. I know it has its advantages and it feels good to use, but there will come a time when you might lose your control over it.
That's what I was afraid of.
What will you give me for it?
You're not very good at making deals, are you, Master
Nope.
Ball?
Not in the fucking slightest.
I mean, Nibirius like laughs at that, like
When someone asks if you're good at deals, you say yes.
Oh fuck! God damn it! Slap my face. Like, all right. I mean, yes, I am master of deal. Haha.
you have to understand that what I'm telling you here is that that particular object that you hold in your hands is in fact cursed. Uh, the nature of which is that at some point in the future, if you were to continue using it, you might lose control of yourself. At which point, the only way you would be allowed to return the knife to its sheath is if it has shed blood, be that an enemy's, or an ally's, or even yours. But the blade will begin to thirst, and if you draw it without killing someone, well, you'll have to feed it somehow.
It also imparts bloodthirsty urges to the user, from what I understand, yes?
Yes, that would be the thoughts of the knife reaching out, attempting to weaken his willpower.
This is literally just Morn Song.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Because
But
Bo has been a little more, bloodthirsty than normal.
Is this a problem for you, Halfling? Or
For me, I don't like the idea of stabbing myself. Like, just putting that out there.
yeah,
I don't want to be stabbed either.
and like he's kind of like grinning, right? When you both kind of like confirm what he was already fairly certain of, and he's like, "This is why I inferred that, or explicitly said, I suppose, that Master Ball is not particularly good at making deals, considering he asked what I would give him for it, when really he should be thanking me for taking it."
Yeah, fair. Like,
On
I know.
on the on the other hand, before you stumble into saying something foolish, uh, I am contractually obligated to give in return for items taken. That is the agreement that we struck previously, so we might be able to work something out.
Oh.
Yes. It's a good thought, and I like where your head is at, but no. Unfortunately, the dagger requires like living lifeblood to be sated. No, like I like the idea.
Another question. A blade with a curse that powerful must have a fair amount of power in it. Yes?
It's not insignificant, as I'm sure Master Ball will attest. It does make it easier for him to strike. It makes
Yep.
it simpler for him to inflict great damage, and
So,
if he happens to miss, it guides his hand back to the heart on the second swing.
which means that it is a weapon not without value in the right hands.
This is true.
She's gonna literally leave it at that because what all she's trying to do is to sort of help Bo to realize that he does have a decent trading point there.
I mean, like, he's already said that we give me something for it, which I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's more impressing that it's a magical weapon, so it's going to have some value to it. So he has bargaining, which he's
Yeah.
not very good at, so she's nudging.
Right.
You've
No,
not had the dreams, my man.
no. The nightmares.
And it eventually means that Master Ball will have to kill himself. So really, it's a win-win for all of us.
That's not nice.
Harsh.
Bert, be nice.
You all chuckled on the inside, though.
I mean, I'm chuckling right now. Are you kidding me?
So, what do you give us for it?
In this current form, unlikely. You see, the metal here, and he kind of like runs his finger along the blade. If Ba will let him touch it, right? Like you still have the agency to like pull away as he reaches towards it.
I'll let him touch it as long as it's on
Yeah.
my finger.
Yeah, he kind of like runs his gloved finger along the blade, and he's like, This is the same metal that those soul coins that you've been collecting. Same substance. The hilt here under his chubby little fingers is demon horn. The whole thing is cursed. Just absolutely cursed, like something you'd see on Twitter.
Lol.
What?
And he's like,
Fourth
wait,
wall, hello.
wrong era. Sorry. Uh,
God damn it.
regardless, I don't think I can purify this material. I might be able to break down the magical energy trapped inside and convert it into something more suitable, however, if provided with additional input, liquid assets, or perhaps one of those coins that I know you're carrying around. And he's like still talking to you, Bob, but he kind of like turns his head slightly to look at Vert when he says that. But yes.
I don't know why
Yeah.
you're looking at me. They're my coins.
They are your coins, but are you a dragon, Master Vert?
Marcus, am I a dragon?
I mean, he's legitimately he kind of like he's legitimately asking you the question, and when you don't like immediately respond, he's like, "Do you intend to lay them down and sleep on them as though they were a bed?"
If Vert's eyes could go wide behind the mask, they probably do. That's a great idea.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Just- Oh.
They are of little use if you do not spend them. That's all I'm saying. But regardless,
Other question then, so anyone would ask is that, are you talking about the blank coins or the ones with souls in them?
the ones that are filled have more value. Obviously.
At which point I was going to be like, no, I'm selling the souls of people for personal gain is not acceptable.
Of course not.
He gives you this like toothy grin, and he's like, I would I would have expected that answer from you, my dear, and I am not disappointed to hear it. And then he like slowly turns his head and looks at Vert.
All I can think right now is that scene from The Simpsons where Homer's like, "Aw, $20? I wanted a peanut." Money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Right. And he's like, just that kind of like a meaningful like look at Vert again, because he's like, if anybody in this party is gonna sell souls in exchange for goods and services, it's definitely the Leshen.
Yes.
And he just kind of shrugs and he's like, as I said previously, I do still accept gold, jewels, art objects, knowledge, and memories in payment. And he just kind of like slowly lowers himself down into his chair.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I know, like I said, in the loot channel, I think I gave you like a total up to like a certain point of like if you reduced everything you had down to like available coin or whatever, you would have like a couple thousand gold, I think.
Yeah.
Let's
2,000.
look.
100. Oh no, if you would with the fence fee, it's like 1,946. No,
I mean, I
was
just
written
went
in
through
Discord.
I went through everything that was in the loot channel. I didn't look at anything in Roll20. So or
How
on
much-
your character sheets. I'm sorry.
How much do healing potions cost?
So the standard run of the mill healing potion, I believe, is still 50 gold pieces.
Well, I am broke as shit then, so I ain't buying anything.
Well, I mean, like I said, in like the what's in the loot channel is like there for everybody in the party, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
We could sell
Also-
our memories.
I don't think anybody like ever claimed that amulet either.
Which one?
I called it out in the channel. I found this
Oh.
scrolling back through the channel. There's a wondrous item, an amulet of proof against detection and location. But yeah, if you sell all of your random art objects, gems, and other bullshit you've been carrying around with you, it comes out to 2,162 gold pieces. Less a roughly 10% surcharge for cashing it all in with a fence, which you are not doing, you would have 1,946. Since Tiberius is just going to give you like the straight value in gold pieces, yeah, you have 2,162 gold pieces worth of junk. And that's like as of like the 23rd of January. Like we have played since then. Like there is more stuff that y'all have found. So like you have money with which to barter, like as a party.
Does anyone want that amulet? Because that's a pretty sweet amulet.
I was eyeballing it.
I mean, I don't want to call it because I feel like I've gotten a lot of stuff, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, while wearing this amulet, you are hidden from divination magic. You can't be targeted by such magic or perceived through magical scrying sensors.
That's big.
It might be literally the only way to get out from under Nibirius's watchful eye, by the way.
It would also be good
Annie
for-
would love that because he makes her very uncomfortable.
It would also be good for Baw to escape his debtors.
That's fucking good. Holy shit.
Oh, that is funny.
I'll let Sienna have it though, because like Bo doesn't give a fuck. he just moved out again. Fuck.
Just
Okay.
skip town.
Uh.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny. But yeah, so like I said, I do believe that a standard D&D healing potion is 50 gold pieces. Which means that like you could purchase quite a few of them.
Let me ask you this. How much would you pay for one of these blank coins? What's the rough gold exchange?
That's a good question. Usually, in Avernus or any of the other 9 hells, the value in a soul coin is in the spiritual energy contained inside of it. The thoughts, the knowledge, the life force of the soul, as it were. Given your proximity to them, I'm sure you understand what I mean. But
I ain't taking that bait.
right, like he's just throwing it out there. You don't have to take the bait. And he's like, but harvesting the metal and purifying it and then stamping it into coin form does take time and effort and a contract with Mammon. So, I suppose the coins are not without value in their blank form. I could perhaps offer you 100 gold pieces for them.
And for the ones with people inside them.
Well, those are much more valuable, Master Ferret. Much more valuable.
How much more?
How many do you have? What do you want?
I have some.
He's like visibly excited now.
It's like two weebs talking to each other about their weeb shit.
Right?
Oh, god damn it.
Is this making anyone else in the party uncomfortable?
Very.
A little bit, yeah, but I'm just trying to enjoy my tea.
See, like, that's not my fucking problem. None of my business.
Let's say I had one. What would the equivalent trade be? Just waiting
think-
for a visa to step in.
I think it would be a more productive conversation for you to tell me what it is that you want, Master Vert. What in this moment does your heart desire? And then I can tell you what its approximate value is.
I want my fucking guns.
Right, is that all?
Saying nothing because she's really trying to remind herself that she personally disagrees with it, but it's not her place to try and command what other people do.
Right. Is I guess like is that what Vert says? Is like I just want these other guns that we were talking about?
Let's go like balls to the wall. Let's go like I want ivory handled gold filigreed Colt 45s. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
or I don't want just like fucking Glocks. I want like the hand cannon, I want the solid gold Desert Eagle,
Sure.
the 50 cal version.
Let me check and see something here. Where is? I need a particular PDF.
Because that'll give kind of the rest of the party an idea of what they're worth. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I want the fiddle of gold. You know what I mean?
Right. So he like I want and like okay, you took the gunner feat, right? So like
Yes.
you ignore the loading property on firearms.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So you're like I want something that's like highly decorated and like very like cool looking and I want, like such and such like and do you tell him you want like a pair or do you just say
Oh yeah, I'd love a pair.
okay. So yeah, like you're basically like saying all of this and he like as you start telling him what you want, like he like just sort of unfurls like a sheaf of paper from like nowhere and like has it in his hand and he's just like nodding and he's like and he's like taking notes with a quill pen and he's like and then he
Yes, perfect, Cass. Exactly. Really? It won't let me paste it in here? That's dumb. Hold on, I know how to do this. Why do I need to copy the image when I can just snip it?
Snippity snappy.
Snippity snappity. You guys ever seen a gold 50 cal Desert Eagle?
I have now.
They're awesome.
They're
Right.
so cool, but they will blow your arm clean off.
Yeah.
Like the arm that's holding the gun, when you fire it, it will like break your shoulder.
Yeah.
An A.
A drug dealer's best friend.
Yes. It's literally, this gun is for when you want to kill a guy who's standing behind a refrigerator in your neighbor's house.
right. Let me see here. I'm looking for something more appropriate. I understand what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me see if I can translate that to something more.
What I got.
Sure. Okay, this is technically like a Nerf gun, but like whatever, this works. So you finish kind of like saying the thing that you want, and he's like, ah, yes, perhaps something like this. And he kind of like rolls the piece of paper that he's been filling out like up, and then kind of like does something with his hands where it's kind of like watching like up close magic or whatever. And the contract paper that he wrote all of the descriptive text down, like when he pulls his hands apart, is replaced by a simple like rosewood box that he sets down on the coffee table, like pushing the treats aside a little bit.
You know exactly how to get me excited, don't you, Marcus?
Yeah.
Rosewood is fancy as fuck.
And he kind of like runs his fingers over the smooth, like well stained surface and like puts his fingertips against like the edge of the lid and lifts it. And inside there's this kind of like plush red satin. And sitting in it is a pair of like black powder pistols that like are set so that like they're kind of like, you know how like a set of dueling pistols would be displayed, like how they're kind of like pointing towards one another, but like on alternate axes or
Yeah, they're crossed.
yeah. And it's like they look something. I'm thinking something like this,
Okay.
but in like a break breach format, so that it can be like loaded from the back rather than you having to like load it from the front. Because I just think that's cooler.
It is.
And like there's like shot and smoke powder and like the necessary like bits and bobs for like weapon maintenance are also like displayed inside the box. And he's kind of like, something along the lines of this for your needs, perhaps.
I'm too busy drooling. Everyone gather round.
And he kind of like slowly closes the lid before you have a chance to like take one of them.
I want to be like the kid, like looking in the box as he closes the box, like tilting my head down and down and down and down.
Right. And he like it closes with a click, and like he's got his hands kind of, or one of his hands like splayed out on the lid, and he kind of like drums his fingertips against the wood, and he's like, there's nothing magical about these weapons aside from the smoke powder that drives the projectile. So this is actually quite the boring wish. I could pay this in gold.
How much gold?
500.
500!
500!
500!
Brother!
My best friend, I need 500!
I need 500!
500 gold for the pair and all of the accoutrement that goes with it.
That sounds like something I could buy in a shop then. Why would
Yes.
I deal with you to get it?
Because you would have it now. No questions asked.
How can we say no to that face? That mask.
Maybe you shouldn't look at the face. I'll consider it. I'm
Yes.
quite fond of my trinkets.
Yes. But as I said, this is a boring wish. One that can be paid in gold or art objects simply enough. If you wanted something more exotic, perhaps a weapon that fired without making such a terrible racket, or or something that is a bit more magical in nature. Perhaps people in a different era, in a different world, might say of a +1 variety.
Oh. A +1 variety.
That might be where we begin speaking on trades involving your collection.
Perhaps just the one regular little one that I mentioned before, then. For now, and we'll consider your offer.
Yeah, and he kind of leans back and he's like, 250 gold pieces for the one, 500 for the pair.
Oh, so when I asked for the one, he was going to give me one of those no matter what.
Yeah, no, like
Okay.
literally, like I had taken it to be that you were asking for a pair of pistols, which is why I told you 500. It's 250 gold pieces for one. It's
Yes.
500 for the pair.
Yes. I was talking about for the soul coins for the kill him through the refrigerator across the
Oh.
street.
No. Like if you just described like to me you had described like a regular like pistol that does like a decent amount of damage because the hollow or the Grim Hollow like black powder pistol like is a 2d4 weapon, right? Like that's a pretty significant amount of damage for a one-handed ranged weapon.
Yeah.
Like, and you didn't say anything that rang to me as though it were magical.
I gotcha.
Which is why he was like, this is a mundane weapon. This is cheap.
Yeah, I misunderstood because I was asking him what I would get for a soul coin in terms of gun.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So he's like, if you want to like go that route, and he's like, it would be something like a +1 with like a special effect.
Oh, okay.
Is something that you could get for a soul coin.
Okay. And the only reason I was really asking that is so that the group now understands. Okay, for a soul coin, we can probably get a +1 weapon with a special effect,
or like a +1 like armor with like a low tier special effect, right? Like basically, I'm thinking like any. Well, not any, but like within reason, like most of the magic items that fall into
the rare category.
Like definitely up through uncommon, maybe like most of rare is probably fine as well.
Okay.
With a few exceptions.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then I need 250 gold.
Right, and here's the thing too, right? Like if you were to give him like two, like I don't remember how many soul coins you have. I know it's more than one. But like if you were to give him like 2 soul coins or whatever, he could give you like the pair of pistols at +1 with like silencing shot or whatever that makes it so that they don't make noise or like whatever. But if you just want to buy them without them being magical, he'll sell you them at 250 gold pieces a pop.
Yeah, I'll give him the 2 blank ones because we don't care about those, right? Avisa, you don't really care about the blank ones, right?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Well, the blank ones are worth 100 gold pieces each, right?
I'll give him the 2 blank soul coins and 50 gold for those, and I'll be happy because I don't want to go. I know I was asking about it, but that was more to just get information for the rest of the party because no one else has got the ability to buy crazy strong weapons, and I don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean?
Sure. I mean, you could provide those for someone else if you were so inclined.
I think the group still needs to have a moral, ethical discussion about using them, especially since Avisa particularly is so against using them. That's something we should role play out, you know?
Absolutely. But yeah, he kind of like takes his hand off the box then and takes the blanks and like the extra gold pieces or whatever, and he's like, if you change your mind or you wish for an enhancement later, you know where to find me, but... And he kind of just like inches the rosewood box.
I'm not listening to him anymore. I've got the box.
Right.
Veerd has now left the conversation.
Right. Yeah. Right. Sure. Sure. Oh boy, let me look at the price sheet. Um, it's not
Like,
great. Yeah.
just real quick, could I trade that dagger for a fucking cloak of protection?
Hmm.
It's uncommon, 500 gold.
I have thoughts. I'll get back to you in a second.
Okay.
Master Ball. Studded leather, you said?
It lets him be extra.
Extra AF. And considering he's a fucking part of the Creation College, then that's
Yeah.
fair.
Okay,
One of our
so
players.
the value on the item cost spreadsheet that I use that it has for the glamored like armor is 2,000 gold pieces. So
Oh.
um that is not to say that you have to pay it in gold pieces, right? He's like, you know, I can certainly correct your clothing now. And he kind of just like snaps his fingers or whatever and puts your equipment back to clean and right as though it were nothing. Something more mystical in nature could be arranged. The gold can be exchanged, but as always, as I said, information, memories, souls. It's entirely possible that you could enter a contract, and what you could receive could be paid up front, with the rest of the reward for me to be paid at a later date. Yeah, and he shakes his head. He's like, such a brutish contract. Mine is far more refined, but certainly. What armor are you wearing right now?
Leather armor, I think, right? Yeah. Your
Yeah.
AC is 13. Yeah.
You're proficient in light armor, yes? Um, but not medium, I assume. No, that's fine. I just was double checking. Um, oh boy, oh boy. That's fine. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Yeah, like he can definitely offer you like a suit of studded leather armor at like the standard market price. Like easy enough. Trying to think if there's any, because like just generic like +1. Actually, I don't know if there is just like generic +1 armor anymore. Is there?
Mm-mm. Well, studded leather armor is only 45 gold,
Sure.
and that would. Yeah.
Embellished, you mean?
Emblemished. No, emblemished, please. Draw like a giant dick on
The
the front of it.
ABCs with that.
In one of our other games, we have a crafting system where you can choose to give yourself negatives on your equipment in exchange for like more crafting points so you can add more stuff to it. So like you can have like I have a shield that gives +5 to all saving throws to anyone within 30 feet, but I take -5 to 6 ability scores.
Oof.
Totally worth it.
I mean, that's fair. You know what? Here's what he can offer. He's like, I think I understand. You would like something more showy, something more magical, but you're still interested in attaining survival. Yes. Yeah, what's your dexterity bonus? I'm just curious. Okay, +2. Awesome. So he holds up, or actually what he does is he's like, let me show you this. And he walks over and like he's got like an armor stand like in the corner, right? That's currently got like plate mail on it, and he just like puts his hand on the shoulder and like spins the armor stand around. And like as he does, like the plate mail just kind of like dissolves away and is replaced by like what appears to be like a shirt of chainmail that is like hanging on the armor stand, and like the links of the chain shirt like glitter more brightly than any like normal metal like mail armor that you have ever seen before. Like it's this bright kind of like silvery like coloration that the light catches on just so, and it has this kind of like rainbow patina like looking at like gasoline floating on like the surface of water.
We don't need a writing studied fucking bard. Goddamn.
Uh,
Bard.
and he kind of like holds the hem of like the chain shirt like in the palm of his hand, and he's like, mithril armor is lighter than yes, lighter than feathers. Fuck's sake. It's like no. Chain armor made from mithril is lighter than it should otherwise be, and yet at the same time more protective than it should otherwise be. And no matter how much you argue that these two contradictory facts should not coexist, the armor will not listen. Now, this I could offer you for the paltry sum of 540 gold pieces.
It's an investment I'm not bothered about making.
Yeah.
Talking about lying on the fucking floor, like hello. But no, I don't object to that.
Yeah. I will
I
point
don't
out
either.
that in amongst all of the stuff that Boasting Boss stole at one point, you just have a whole ass suit of half plate armor, which is itself valued at 750 gold pieces by
Oh my.
itself.
But you can't
Like-
wear it because it's heavy armor.
You
Right.
guys are fucking welcome. God.
But
Although
yeah,
Although,
he-
you know who could wear it? The cleric.
who? Does Grave Cleric
I'm not
get
sure I have
heavy
proficiency in
armor?
heavy armor. Hold on, let me check. Nope, only light and medium.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, only some clerics get heavy armor.
Okay.
But yeah, like, and he'll just kind of like point to the suit of half plate that's like laying in amongst all of the junk, and he's like, you know, the equal value of that and a slight refund, and the suit could be yours. Yeah.
Yeah, hold a fucking cloak, you dick.
And he kind of like quirks an eyebrow, and he's like, come here. And you know, he like bids you like approach the armor stand, right? And assuming you do so, he'll kind of like motion for you to like touch the armor, like lift it with your hands. And like in like, you know, it's made of metal, right? Like it feels cold to the touch the way that metal would. Like it has that like that feeling of like strength and sturdiness between your fingertips. But like hefting it feels as light as fabric in your hands, right? And he's like, you could just wear it under your shirt.
Oh. Listen, one of my other characters is wearing a chain shirt at level like 15. Chain shirts are great.
Yeah. And so here's the thing, like a chain shirt is normally like a medium armor that provides like an AC of 13 plus your dexterity bonus. But the mithril like modification makes it count for the purposes of like my game and what I'm selling you here. It will make it count as though we're light armor for your uses, so that you'll be proficient, and it provides an additional +1 bonus to your armor class. So I think that should make your AC 16.
Holy shit, that's huge.
That's the same AC as I've got, man. Fucking hell.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I mean, take it, fuck.
Sounds like a Samsung.
Fuck off, kill! Oh wait, fuck. Weather is dark, no one cares! Ah!
So yeah. Yeah. It's like, good. Then I shall. And he just kind of like steps back over and he kind of like waves his hand over like the suit of half plate, and it just like disappears, and then like sitting on the coffee table is like the pile of gold coins that like approximates like
change,
the
basically.
change or
Yeah.
whatever, right? Like so that dealt with, and kind of like turns and he looks at you, Lucina. I'm assuming you're still there, and he's just like, you haven't spoken much this visit, my dear. Penny for your thoughts.
I'm simply enjoying the delicious tea and the good company.
Of course.
There's nothing you want, hun? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, basically the same question, but posed in characters. Is there anything else that I could get for you? finger sandwiches, healing potions.
Well, I wouldn't be opposed to some healing potions.
He
Neither.
nods, kind of like looks between you and Siani, and he's like, "Ah, I see the two that are responsible for keeping the party in one piece are of a mind, then."
Well, it certainly would make things easier, because these people like to die a lot.
These people.
What do you mean, these people, cleric?
Pointing at Bo and Ray.
Okay, so the base AC calculation for a chain shirt is 13 plus your dexterity. With the +1 bonus you're getting from Mithril, it becomes 14 plus your dexterity. So to a maximum of +2, which means you would have a 16. Yep. Okay. So, like I said, healing potions are 50 gold pieces. He can offer you basically, and actually there is a higher tier one as well. He has regular healing potions, which are 2d4 plus 2 hit points when you drink the potion. Those are 50 gold pieces. He also has potions of greater healing, which are 4d4 plus 4 when you drink the potion, and those are valued at 150 gold pieces. And because healing potion is like a fundamental like part of Dungeons and Dragons, he can produce as many as you are willing to pay for.
It's probably not a bad idea.
And then yeah, he kind of like he nods. I assume you probably say something along those lines, like in character, right? And so he's like turns back to Master Ball. And he's like, "So, I suppose I've put it off long enough. The matter of the knife, then.
Mm-hmm.
You wish to exchange it for something of similar value.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't transmute the power that animates it into something that isn't useful for taking a life. But I might be able to transmute it into something that can prevent it from taking yours, shall we say.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and he's like, "May I have the weapon?"
Now, I know I should do it, but I'm very exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, it's fucking Bilbo at the start of Lord of the Rings. Like, all right, yeah, of course, and I'll like put it back in the sheath and not hand it over.
Right,
After all, why shouldn't I keep it?
Exactly.
right. And so he takes it from you when you hand it to him, and he regards you carefully, and he's like, "Now, what sort of weapon should I make for you? Do you have thoughts, or are you willing to allow me to indulge my creative side?"
Oh, go for it. I'll take a gamble.
Okay, so he just kind of like does like that up close magic thing again and just like disappears the dagger, and then he like pulls out like a piece of paper again and like gets out his quill and begins writing and like carefully like regarding you and like thinking and doing that kind of like scribbling, and then yes, oh, this would be perfect. And then like he like crumples the contract up again, and then like when he parts his hands again, rather than having like a box like he had for Vert, there's just like a beer stein like
Oh
in
god,
his hand.
no. No.
and he sets it down on the table.
Is this literally brass knuckles, but in beer stein form?
Maybe.
I fucking love it.
Yeah, I fucking
Why
love
have
it
you
already, man.
forsaken us?
Right, so I like, what is this then? Is this very interesting, right up my fucking alley? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, and he sets it down, and like it's this like very fine looking, like, you know, like ultra like fancy looking like German beer stein, right, with like all of like the filigree and the detail on it, and it's got this kind of like little
Oh my
like
god, hold on.
picture view of like a bucolic like halfling village somewhere on like the open rolling plains of the realms. It's got the little like flip top lid on it and everything. And he's like, well, I know that you tend to get into fights in taverns, Master Baugh, and I'm sure you're quite familiar with the fact that a beer stein can be just effective as a weapon as any knife. Yes.
Nods, yes, yes.
Well, you'll find with this particular item that it performs as capably as the item that is being replaced. Which is to say that it will still be like a +1 to attack and damage. It just does bludgeoning damage now, and it's basically like brass knuckles but a beer stein.
Alright, I'm fucking so in, man.
And right, but here's the other selling point. And I know that the knife had another effect, which, yeah, like that fucking beer stein, something of that
Yeah,
description.
Hold on, I
metal
have
one,
to. Yes, I have to take a picture of all my beer stein collection.
yeah, it's amazing.
I lived in Germany for 3 years. I have an extensive beer stein collection.
That's amazing, man.
Where is my blue one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, I've got a huge beer stein collection. I'm trying to find. I've got this really pretty pearlescent blue one, but I don't know where it is.
Did you look in the china cabinet?
Oh, good call.
Yeah, and he's like,
Aha.
now, I also understand that you are quite the worry for dear Lucina. And he turns and looks at you for a moment.
Yes, I am nodding furiously at that.
Your health is paramount in her mind. So, while I was unable to salvage the weapon's ability to grant you
Advantage.
additional aid should you miss the target, I have instead replaced it with this effect that is in the shooting shit channel.
Oh yeah, boys, it's fucking on. Oh,
So basically, it is
yeah, so
a
like once a day, fucking like a healing potion, like a fucking advanced.
Yo,
healing
that's
potion
fucking
as well.
awesome.
yeah, it's basically a +1 to attack and damage brass knuckle that once per day can convert one beer, wine, or mead into a healing potion.
Fuck yeah, I'm so in. That's amazing.
That is awesome.
So yeah, and he smiles, feeling that he has met your needs, and kind of like leans back in the chair, and he's like, this was a relatively simple transmutation. Admittedly, it's a good thing that we were able to catch it before it had taken hold of your mind.
I mean, I'll drink to that motherfucker.
I've dealt with your ranger, I've dealt with your bard, I've dealt with your monk. Siani, Lucina, is it really only healing potions on regard for your party that you're interested in, or is there something that I can do for you personally?
Potion seller!
Potion seller, I require your strongest healing potions!
You cannot handle my strongest healing potions, for you are but a man!
I'm honestly having a hard time coming up with anything else that I need, but Lucina is also a person of simple means, you know, so she's not really going to
Sure.
be looking for anything flashy.
I don't have it written up yet. Look, you know there is a non-zero chance that Lucina is going to wind up in possession of a magical tea set at some point in this fucking game. It's just like I haven't considered what I want it to do yet.
I am so down with that.
Yeah, and like, you know, I think he knows that you're a person of simple means, right? And he's like, nothing I can tempt you with. No finery, no. And like as he's doing it, he's like proffering like little illusions between his hands, you know, like fine dresses made out of like wonderful fabrics and like exotic food you've probably never had before. You know, probably like flashes through a couple of like cloaks or amulets or like bits of jewelry, like
Okay, that would be hilarious, and I would totally wear that.
Quite happy
Hor-
chip in for that.
horn ring of protection. Hmm. I suppose it's entirely possible, but what did you have in mind, Master Ray?
World's best mom teacup.
And Celestial.
Celestial. Yeah, so he kind of like nods, thinks about it. It's like, is that all? Just a teacup? Nothing magical? Nothing special?
You could give her a really fancy tea. Like ethereal tea. Like
Or a tea
celestial
always
tea.
keeps the tea at the perfect temperature.
Mm. Give her a double wall insulated fucking mug.
Yes, I need a Yeti coffee thermos to go. Thank you.
It just says Lucina's coffee thermos. And Celestial. Pop by a party who would be definitely dead without her.
Let's see here. Well, so in general, I believe a common magic item, something that is like magical and does like funny little like RP things, but doesn't have like a lot of power, is worth about like 100 gold pieces usually, right? Stuff like that spice pouch that I gave you, that flask that just makes like mundane like whiskey 3 times a day, like those things would be worth like 100 gold pieces, right?
Okay.
And so yeah, you kind of go back and forth on like the teacup and like the whole like thing, and he's like, perhaps I can do you one better. Like, have you seen like a Pariranman yet, Hillary, or is it just a Maya?
I have not watched it yet.
Okay. Well, there is literally a scene in that show where like what's his name's like maid slash chaperone, who I love, who is clearly like your character, uh like she has like a little like travel suitcase or whatever with like a full like traveling tea set in it.
That's amazing.
um and I think what he does is he like produces from wherever it is that he produces his magic items. He produces like a small little carrying case that he kind of like turns around and like flips the latches on and opens it up, and inside we have like a well secured like tea kettle and like matching teacups and like the tea saucers and like stirring spoons and like a few little containers for like sugar and like, you know, the other things that you would need to like serve an excellent tea. And it's all like very fancy looking, like kind of, you know, like the kind of thing you would expect to see in like high society or whatever. And he's like, it seems as though the rest of your companions believe that you have quite the affinity for tea service, and given our previous encounters, I believe that is true as well. So, perhaps I might present you with this. It is capable of heating the water on its own without the need for fire, and the teacups will in fact keep the tea as warm as you need it to be enjoyed, regardless of how long you leave it.
She's just staring in the case with like sparkly eyes, and after a moment, you just hear, "It's perfect."
Oh,
Right, and he
Cue sobbing hugs for everybody in the party.
and he turns to the rest of the group and he's just like, I think this would run 100 for the kettle and 100 for the cups as a set. When you say fancy, do you mean mundane or do you mean mystical?
I mean, much for the mundane and how much for the mystical?
Well, I mean, fine tea isn't so terribly expensive. 25 gold pieces, perhaps? I could get a few bits of green tea from Lantan, a bit of black from Luskin, something from the Sholun Empire, perhaps. 25 gold pieces apiece, and be enough leaves to make several cups over an indeterminate period of time.
Tea is tea. I will not complain about anything that you give me.
Get all the good stuff.
Yeah, so like he'll take. So yeah, like 25 gold pieces will get you like a decent like supply of like nice tea from somewhere exotic in the real world, or the real world, like the Forgotten Realms. um, easy enough. The mystical variety, like I'm already like the wheels are already turning in the back of my head of what that could be. I just don't have anything like ready off the top of my head right now, but
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
Hmm.
And then yeah, like I think you've spent a fair amount. I guess like healing potions would be the only other thing that you really need. Oh yeah, Siani.
Um,
Does anything come to mind?
okay, given that Cyan has been kind of reluctant about this whole thing right from the start, but I guess she's sort of slightly starting to warm up to it. She would cock her head to the side, consider, then quite simply say, "Silvered crossbow bolts."
There you go.
Yeah, and he kind of like nods and thinks about it. He's like, well, that's such a mundane ask. But then, from what I know of you, you seem to be a very practical individual.
To that she just shrugged. Pragmatic is practically her definition.
Oh, sure. Let's see here. Crossbow bolts. So a sheaf of 20 crossbow bolts is 1 gold apiece, it looks like, and then silvering. Hang on.
She also, much like Lucina, doesn't really want or ask for much. Probably a byproduct of a life pretty much living off the land.
Sure. Let's see here. Silvered ammunition. Yeah, he can silver. Basically, he can offer you 20 silvered crossbow bolts for 100 gold pieces.
Okay.
And he just kind of like lines them up like on the table, just like 1, 2, 3, 4, and just like gives you what you need.
Lucina is going to insist that the party spend as much on Siani as they did on her, just to be fair.
It's fair.
Huh? Well, you can get 40. You can get 40 for 200, or
To which side is going to be somewhat uncomfortable because she doesn't like attention.
Shut up, you're going to get this and you're going to like it, okay? We have
She spends
decided.
a lot of time trying to help and protect people, but she does not like the spotlight.
You try to say sugly or something? God. Rude. I know.
What
Why
would I
though?
do with a mask?
Yes, the big three uses for getting a mask.
Oh my god.
oh my god, I love it.
Society would be somewhat entertained by the thought, but still entirely confused by the use. And yeah, she's got this whole mental image going in her head of her fucking squatting on the ground, sort of scraping at it with the side of a mask and thinking, this is really impractical.
Oh my god.
Because she has a habit of taking things very literally. And so now she's just got this sort of far away, bewildered look because she's imagining this.
Could get a bespoke bong. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I
And
don't know.
then she's just gonna very carefully say, I really don't need much else.
Get a bespoke bong. He says as I scroll past pipe of smoke monsters.
Oh,
While smoking this pipe, you can use an action to exhale a puff of smoke that takes the form of a single creature of your choice, such as a dragon, a flumph, or a froghemoth. The form must be small enough to fit in a 1-foot cube and loses its shape after a few seconds, becoming nothing more than ordinary smoke. It is very funny, though. You could get bought tankard of sobriety.
She's going to be straight-faced as hell while inwardly beaming.
Nobody wants that. Not even Bo wants that.
You use your wish to get Bosingba the tankard of sobriety.
No! No!
This tankard has a stern face sculpted in one side. You can drink ale, wine, or any other non-magical alcoholic beverage poured into it and will never become inebriated.
Okay, but that's counterintuitive for his now drinking healing thing in game, so
Right.
yeah.
No, it's just very funny.
Counterintuitive for being a drunken master, and also the fact that I can get drunk and heal at the same time.
No, I legit, literally can't think of much else that she would want or ask for.
For what?
Pair of drums.
To which point she'd sort of look at the hand drum she has attached to her backpack and she's like, what's wrong with mine?
Oh.
She definitely appreciates the efforts, but honestly, I think the only thing that she would be interested in is maybe getting her staff reinforced or something.
Well, you know, since we did have that conversation earlier about your transforming weapon,
Yes.
that really doesn't do you any good.
Yes. I was actually thinking about either seeing if anyone else wanted that or selling it.
Yeah. He might be able to do something with that, like transmutation wise, like he did with the cursed dagger. Let me see here if I could find something in Griffin's saddlebags that I like. This is always the problem with shopping, right? Is like I don't know what people are gonna want, so it winds up bogging down a little bit. But it's also fun to like get cool stuff. So
Yeah. It doesn't help that I'm clueless about a lot of stuff.
it's fine. What were you saying? Mhm. Yeah, but she's also not here. She has one. She already has one. Oh, you're such a
Oh,
nice
that sounds
person.
like a waste of money. My job is to make that hard for you. My Vel's just over the back man still fucking rubbing his dick over the guns like, oh my god, these are
Mhm.
amazing. These are the best things ever! Ah!
I have a deep concern about all of you.
Hey.
Well, okay, not you, but them for sure.
Yes.
What does this do? Interesting, but perhaps not what we're looking for at the moment. I guess like what like in and out of character perspective, like if you were to like trade in the weapon that can like transform into a rapier or a longsword or into a cane, and like you have your existing staff, like what would you want it to do, like ideally, right? Like what would be more convenient for you?
Now that is a good question. Especially as I'm not sure what's within the realm of possibility.
Well, okay, so like it's it's not um it's not +1 like the dagger was, so
Yeah.
like theoretically I guess it would look like it would be one of those things where it's like I could make an existing quarterstaff, which I think you already have, like +1, and it would have no other like additional beneficial effect, right? It would have +1 to attack and +1 to damage, because like all of the magic would be like redirected into like raw like numerical advantage for all intents and purposes. Or we could look at something like the sword that I gave Cass last session, right? Where like it is technically a magic weapon for the purposes of overcoming damage reduction, which is like not a thing you have to worry about because you have the shillelagh spell,
Mhm.
right? But uh that weapon does give him the ability to like cast a cantrip that he normally can't cast, like an unlimited number of times per day, and then it has a single first level spell that he can use once per day attached to it. Yeah. So I could do something like that where I could like build a little themey kind of like magic item around like druid stuff or similar that like could cast a couple spells or some such.
That would be interesting.
Sure. Okay, let's see here. What kind of druid cantrip? Already kind of cornered the guidance market with Okay, so here's another question I have. Ideally speaking, would you rather have a magic item that aids the rest of the party through like healing or through like some kind of like support ability?
Something that assists or something that is more towards crowd control. One of the two.
Okay. Cool. Who? What? My phone is making noises at me. Un momento.
Okay.
Okay, that's just my mom being. Let's see here, something for crowd control. Ooh, boy, oh boy. Now you get to listen to my process of trying to come up with a fucking magic item on the spot. um. In large animals? No. That's silly. Well, actually, what level is Entangle is just like a first level spell, right? Like
I thought it was level 2,
It's
but I
one.
could be wrong. Okay.
I used that on the fort thing. That's what kept the dogs down for so long.
yeah.
Like, I may not know what I'm talking about here, but what about? You said you could put a cantrip in it, right?
Yeah, theoretically.
So what about something like Thorn Whip?
Oh yeah. No,
So give it thorns and
Holy
have
shit, that'd be
Thorn
awesome.
Whip on it.
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Okay. Let me get out my scratch pad here. I need to spitball like the exact wording on this. You joke, but
Because from what I understand, it's can be used to pull things.
yeah.
Yep.
She could have a freaking grappling hook on her staff
Catch it.
and could yank things away from people.
Or yank things into the fucking path of Bosang Bot. Like,
Mhm.
just saying.
I could see that having some definite strategical advantages.
I think I have a perfect idea. I just need to to get the wording right. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? I'll give it like a fun, like special effect as well. Yeah, he arches an eyebrow, just like, is there any particular reason, or is this just to? Hmm. Sure, and he's just like, simple glamour work. Fair enough. And like he kind of like waves his hand over the blade and like inscribes the words as you want them and like gives them like a slight subtle golden glow in celestial. Like it looks really nice and like probably like if you don't speak celestial you would just think, oh, it's a cool magic weapon with like neat runes on it or whatever. It's not a weird backhanded compliment.
Let's hope Rhea doesn't speak Celestial.
Common infernal. Let's see. Nope, giant for some reason. I don't know why I always forget. It's giant. What are you putting this on, Ray?
Oh no, it's for Rhea. Oh yes!
Ray speaks celestial, and you're putting our favorite meat shield on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think she'll still see the intention behind it.
Oh, the engraver must have got it wrong. It was meant to say our favourite, like, party shields. Ah.
Okay, so counts as a magic weapon for the purposes of overcoming enemy resistances. Oh yeah, no, I she's a party sidekick. Y'all can fuck with her shit. It's fine. Okay, so it will be called the Staff of Vines. And I'll put this in shooting shit here. Also, I'm reading these things that Shanks put here, being like, yes. No.
I just searched up a magical tea set for D&D and that was like what came up. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, she's got to like sit and meditate with it and like use one of her. Yeah, you can only have so many things attuned. I believe I'm using my variant attunement rules, where like the number of magic items you can have attuned is equal to your proficiency bonus. So currently at level 4, that is 2. At level 5, it will become 3. But basically, it's like I'm imagining like it is a quarterstaff that is made like entirely out of like a tightly bound like bundle of like slightly thorny vines, and like you can speak a command word to basically turn it into like 50 feet of quote unquote rope made out of unbreakable vines, and it can be used in any way that you would normally use a rope. Or you can use it as a quarterstaff that also provides you the ability to cast Thorn Whip at will.
Okay, that is fucking awesome.
And so yeah, like at basically no cost, he's able to exchange like the magic item that you have that like you don't necessarily want and no one else in the party seems particularly interested in, and turn it into something that is generally more useful.
Okay.
So that is a simple enough matter to accomplish. And then I guess like the only thing left was like did y'all want to get like 2 or 3 healing potions each, or like I haven't really been keeping track of how much you've spent. I'm assuming that y'all have, right? Like
250 for the guns. What was it?
it
500 for
was
the suit.
540 for the armor.
540 for the armor.
The T set was
200
200 gold pieces
plus the
plus
25.
25 for the fancy T. It was 100 gold pieces for the crossbow bolts, and a free exchange for the staff of vines, and a free exchange for
the brawler's mug.
the brawler's mug. I should have been doing actual math instead of just like listing things off. Let's see here. Yeah, like, yeah, you can if she wants it.
I mean, I won't turn it down.
Plus 5. So that was like about what, 1,170, I think. We've spent
200 plus 25. Yeah, that sounds right. So 1,170, and then you were starting from 2,162. You would have 992 gold pieces left.
I guess
Healing-
healing potions.
Healing potions are 50 a pop, and like also you don't have to spend it all now, right? Like you could buy like, 2 potions each.
Mm.
10 would be 500, yeah. So. Yep. Sounds good with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he basically like produces. I imagine like a wooden like divided crate or whatever that has like straw in it or whatever to keep the potions from like jangling around, and there's like a bunch of like these nice like crystal vials with this like beautiful red liquid in it that you've all become quite familiar with, like the sweet taste of healing potion or whatever, and there's 10 little vials in it, and he kind of like pushes that forward and he's like, yes, well, I believe that's everything you've ordered. Minus 500. You would have 492 gold pieces left in the party store.
We still need to add that stuff that we picked up afterwards.
Yeah,
That's
and
well.
like that stuff that you found in the glassworks and whatnot since then, like, is not accounted in this value.
I'd be rolling a total at the end of the session and just like fucking fire it down and loot again and just like pin it maybe else.
$98 each. Sweet.
Alright, cool.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
So, and he kind of like nods and looks self-satisfied as he leans back in the chair, and he's like, it seems as though we've conducted all of the business that we intend to conduct. Hmm.
Okay.
Mm.
To be honest,
He-
I have like a couple of glasses that I can.
We still have a couple bottles of that stuff.
I think Ray has, or not Ray. I think Vert
Well,
had some. I thought. And
I
do,
took one as well.
I do. I have 2.
yeah, he kind of like, regardless, he does kind of give you a look though when you ask, and he's like,
They're my
You were-
bottles.
"You were carrying around a weapon coated in demonic ichor."
He's not a smart man.
Not a
Yes,
small
it
man.
went lovely.
It went, and he kind of like looks at you, and he's like, gives you the like, is that sarcasm like look?
Hold up a
And to
second.
which she's gonna just completely straight face.
And then like looks back up at you from his seat, and he's like, "And you would like more?"
This point side, his tail is going to twitch.
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, that's a request you're going to have to give me some time to work on. I don't tend to keep such unfortunate material just laying around." Yeah. Perhaps it will be. And he kind of like leans over and he like looks at like he picks up like a pocket watch that's like on the side table and like clicks it open and looks at it and then closes it, and he's like, "That perhaps you might in due time encounter more of the substance anyway."
Oh my god.
You might consider investing in glassware. But I take Oh, don't sell yourself short, Master Ray. From
Yo.
he actually does laugh at that, and he's like, "Regardless, from my observations, you've been quite the successful hero. Not everyone has an IQ of 53,000.
Galaxy brain.
uh, well, yes. Unless there are any questions you have for me, or you just like to hang around a bit for discussion, seems as though our business is concluded. He grins in the background when you say that, and just like, well, you are learning. And he
To
motions
which,
to the table. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you first.
Yeah, he motions to the table though, and he's just like, the business cards are yours to take. You can use them to re-enter in much the same way as you already have, though the supply is somewhat limited at the moment. It can be refreshed. And he kind of like indicates with the other hand the jar that literally says tips on it.
And Bo's going to ask him. So what kind of tips is that? Is that like fingertips, toe tips?
shakes his head, and he's like, no, in much the same way that I can trade for anything else.
Oh,
Gold
okay.
pieces can be used to refresh the supply, as can small sacrifices, woodland animals, blood from your fingertip. You know.
So fingertips are on the table. I see.
Not the fingertip, Mr. Ball.
Just the blood. Okay.
Just the blood.
I don't like that.
Yep.
Yeah, but at the moment there are 3 cards in the card holder. You take 1, leaving 2. At some point in the future, if it has to be refreshed, like we can talk about like what that costs. And then yeah, he just kind of like, it's like, I'm going to return to my business. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves and leave whenever you like, though do be aware that as we sit here and converse, time does continue to pass in the waking world.
We should really get a move on. We had prior engagements today. Duke.
The Duke.
And Rhea.
One
Maybe I
can
need that
only
just-
hope.
He
I know,
still
right?
owes me a bell.
Ah,
He does still owe you a bell.
Jeeves. Ding 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 ding.
Ba-blang, ba-blang, ba-blang.
So yeah, I guess we'll just
Alright.
leave.
The
Han.
fuck was that?
Han.
Oh, sorry.
Whoa.
Hey, I forgot my mic was on.
Way to go, man. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick.
Okay. So now I have to figure out how to add my crossbow bolts in this new weapon to my sheet.
You start it to your items, and then when you use the crossbow, you just say silver weapons you're using, or silver arrows.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do any of that still.
If you wait for Marcus, he can probably do it for you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I should get to check that Brawler Smog and make sure I've done it right. Because I just basically replaced the Dagger of Avernus with that, changed it to Bludgeoning.
You should be. How dare.
I know, right? I mean, if you said it for PM, it would have went off just fine. Just saying.
I mean, at least I was your alarm.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
So,
So,
yeah.
I might need your help adding this stuff to my sheet.
Okay.
because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing still.
That's fine. Okay, so
At
so
some
you
point,
see,
I'm sorry.
yeah, no, um, over here on the right hand side where it should like you have like your piety and like your harvest scythe and your wild shape stuff. What I will do is I will just put silvered crossbow bolt. Silver. Yeah, there we go. And then you have 20, and then you can just like increment that down as you use
Okay.
them.
Perfect.
At the end of a fight, like I only track specialized ammo because like tracking regular ammo is like fiddly and kind of onerous, right?
Yeah.
At the end of a fight where you have used specialized ammo, you can always recover half of the ammo that you used during the fight, rounding up, right?
Okay.
So if you use one, you can get one back. If you use two, you get one back, right? Like
And rounding up,
it's
so if I use 3, I can get 2 back.
yeah, exactly. And then over in the middle here, like I believe this longsword was from the staff, as was the rapier. I think if there's anything else I need to change. I think you basically only ever use your quarterstaff with Shillelagh cast, so it's
Yeah.
probably fine to just dump, just in the interest of reducing the number of attack options here.
Yes.
Like I think I'll take the non Shillelagh quarterstaves off. And then like most of that magic item could be handled by adding it like over on the side here under features and traits, which I will do. Let's see here. Staff of Vines, because a lot of its magic ability is just like utility shit, because it's a rope, right? And so I'll just put that magic item there in your features and abilities so you can refer to it. And then what I'll do is on your spells page, I will just drag Thorn Whip over. Once the compendium loads. And that should populate a Thorn Whip attack down at the bottom.
It did.
So, yeah, you've got your quarterstaff at the top. You've got your Thorn Whip. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move those two attacks up to be close to one another. Like so. And that should be... Actually, your poison spray, I think I'll put up there as well, because it is also a cantrip. Because let's see here, healing word and cure wounds could be next to each other. Thunderwave, ice knife, earth tremor, light crossbow's a weapon. Flaming sphere, healing spirit. I'll put that with the healing stuff because those are all leveled spells. Heat metal. And I'll put the demonic tail all the way at the very, very top to remind you that you have it.
You double check that brawler's mug and make sure I've done it right. Because I just basically swapped out the dagger for that.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's everything that you need. If you think of anything else, I can look at it. And like I can sit down with you sometime and try to explain like how the character sheet works if you would like. It's not that hard. It's just like
I would
a lot.
appreciate that. I also was just thinking that maybe I should take a few hours at some point and sit down and fiddle with it and see what I can learn, because I haven't really done that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. A lot of what I've
bothering
figured out.
anybody with it.
Okay, so its range would be 5 feet now because it's not a ranged weapon anymore. And then Brawler's Mug, Dex +1, proficient. Yep, damage is a D4. Because like what its damage will be as you level up is its damage will equal your martial arts die, right? Because it's
yeah.
brass knuckles,
Yeah.
essentially. But otherwise,
So would
yeah,
I be able to use that in place of my arm strike for the
yes,
wow.
it is. It
Okay.
is. It is fundamentally meant to replace your unarmed strikes, and like all that really means is that like it provides a +1 bonus to your attack and damage with your unarmed strikes, and like its die will evolve as your martial arts die
Yeah.
evolves. Um, and so yeah, otherwise it seems fine. It's all good. All right, so any other bookkeeping stuff or? It was 492. And then you split it between the party, and then you had some other stuff that you got from the Glassworks that hasn't really been sorted out, but that's like that can be looked at like another time. Um, um, and then let's see here. So yeah, you get the new business card. Nibirius bids you well and hopes that you have success in whatever your endeavors happen to be, and just remember that the fate of the universe and all that, and goes back to his like business. And then you return to the mortal world. And as you exit the door back into that kind of like secluded little grove where you had torn the business card and summoned the door, you find that the position of the sun has changed relative to where it was when you entered. And it has gone from like mid morning to like partway into the afternoon. Whilst you were in this like other space. um,
Don't know about you guys, but I could go for a bath. Like maybe get some food as well. Like dinner was a long time. Breakfast was a long time ago.
a long time ago, a couple of hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And then yeah, I guess for Amaya's sake, Amaya, do you have a copy of Grim Hollow? I'm sure you probably do, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Like
Smoke powder pistols, 2d4,
yeah,
piercing.
2d4, 25, 100, black powder, loading, light, yada yada yada. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Just
Oh.
making sure.
There's
Wait,
one thing I
25?
forgot.
25, 100?
That's what I see when I look at
okay.
it in the book that I have.
All right. My DM must have changed it for my Grim Hollow game.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm literally just looking at the chart in the copy of the PDF I have.
Okay. Because I think.
Forgot to add the amulet to my list.
Oh, yeah. Just make sure that you claim it or whatever.
Yes.
But I mean, 2500 is still fine because you wanted those specifically for like
Nice.
close quarters combat anyway, right? Like,
Thank you. You've got the rifle for fucking declaring no from a distance.
yep. But yeah, so I guess were you gonna like obviously the next thing that you knew that you wanted to do was like investigate the bathhouse, right? Like, are you planning on stopping in the meantime to do anything else, or do we need? Ah, yes. Yeah, so I believe like at the end of last session when you guys parted to go talk to Nibirius, like you kind of like left Rhea to her own devices with the refugees, right? So you return back to the refugee camp and you find that the refugees are already in the process of like packing up all of their things and like preparing to move from this camp location. And yeah, like Vasha Hall comes like running over to you when she sees the group of you approaching, and she's just like, "Oh, Master Ray and the others! I didn't expect to see you again this day. Is something the matter?" Well, you're the presentable-looking one.
Wow.
I know, right?
Thanks.
This bitch.
Hey, look, I picked a character trait for the character, and I'm gonna fucking play it. Y'all can be mad at her all you want, but it's not gonna change it.
Just means you're doing your job if I'm mad at her. Fuck.
Oh, I had assumed you had already discussed matters with her when she left with quite the intense look on her face not that long ago.
Oh, no.
Not again.
Did she say where she was going?
She said something about recon.
Oh boy.
She seems a very serious young woman. It's nice to see that you've taken her under your wing, given your heroic nature and all. I hope it's just a mentorship situation and not something. And she kind of like makes a face at you.
Oh boy.
Well, my understanding is that bards are quite salacious.
Nice. Nice word.
And she like her face like turns bright red, and she's like, I have a husband, I'll have you know, and he's recovering just fine. And she like extracts herself from under your hand in like the most awkward way possible, and like takes a step back. Right, and she's like, Vert, was it? And she kind of like
Yes.
holds up a hand, trying to like change the subject of the conversation entirely. We weren't certain which inn you and your companions were staying at, so the Duke said that he would have the bell sent to us at our new accommodations once we arrive.
Wonderful.
Oh, good, you know what that means.
Yes. I'm owed a bell.
And she kind of like just gives you a very like, it's like that gif of the dude where just like question marks like appear all around him, right? Where she's just like, what the fuck are these people talking about?
It's a very nice spell.
And she's just like, I'm sure it is. Well, regardless, as the deal that was struck is that there's a warehouse that belongs to Duke Portier down on the docks that was currently containing no cargo, and it's going to be converted into a bunkhouse that we might use. And she like scribbles down like an address or whatever, like on a piece of paper, and hands it over. And she's like, if you come see us there at some later date when you're done with whatever it is that you're doing, I'm sure the package will have arrived, and you will be able to claim this bell, and she like does air quotes because she's certain it can't possibly be an actual bell.
Oh god, that's amazing.
I am owed a bell.
She's like, yes, I'm sure you are. So if it's all the same to you, I'm going to get back to helping them pack the supplies. She's like, well, you've done quite a lot already, Master Ray. You've gotten us to Baldur's Gate. You've made one of the 4 dukes of the city secure us lodgings, and there's talk of the foundation of a confraternity for refugee relief that will help us find jobs and become contributing members of society in the way that we should like to. And she's like beaming, right? Because it's all this fucking like liberal ass like political shit where she's just like, ah, yes. I mean, it'll take us a few hours to finish getting our supplies in order. If you,
Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. I'm sure that Paladin that was with us won't get herself into any trouble trying to do recon, and I'll use air quotes on recon.
Meanwhile, yeah, camera cuts across town. We see Rhea standing in the shadow of an alley, like hood up, looking like obviously in her mind she thinks she's being very stealthy because she's standing in deep shadows while wearing a hooded cloak. But
Meanwhile,
like,
she's conspicuous as fuck.
but like
As fuck.
she's relatively sus as she's like leaning against the wall, like looking across the street at this incredible, like it's a really nice like bathhouse with like these like it's got like a 10-foot high wall that surrounds what is clearly like a well manicured like yard that has like shade trees in it, and like we hear like bird song, and like the doors that like lead into the yard or the courtyard. I don't know why my brain couldn't think of that word. Are detailed in like it's like a whole image across both of the doors of like a bunch of like water nymphs that are like playing in like a very like placid looking like stream surrounded by like nature imagery or whatever, and like above the kind of like double doors it says like the frolicking nymph or whatever, which is obviously the name of the bathhouse. And the doors are like partially open so that people can come and go, and like she just seems really bored because it's like all she sees are like just regular like people just like coming and going, like with their little like their bag that has like the towel sticking out of it and everything, and like it's just people coming and going to use the bathhouse, and nothing like weird or out of the ordinary seems to be happening. But then the camera pulls back again, and we as the audience can see that there is like another person who is like standing on the rooftops who is watching Rhea watching the bathhouse.
Oh no.
Oh, God.
This is what you get for sending a fucking paladin to do a rogue's work, I guess.
Oh my god. I mean, he's not wrong.
He's
Right.
not wrong.
But yeah, and so that happens. We cut back to you guys with the refugees, and Vosh is like, I suppose if you're willing to hang around for a while, you could help Goran or Dara do some of the packing, or we could fix you a meal. We certainly still have some food on.
Food? Trusted mom there.
Oh my
What
god.
about Rhea?
Who?
And this is she's going to address to the party as a whole.
Siani, would you like to go with me to check on her?
I would.
Okay, we should get going then.
I would also like to join. I've never seen a bathhouse before.
Uh, Certainly, I think we could arrange something. And so, like, Vasha, like, turns and she's like, something for the heroes that they can take on the road. A bread roll or something. And she's, like, snapping her fingers into the air at the people that, like, prepare the food. And, like, you can... It's, like, audible eye roll from the people standing by the campfire, right?
Jerked beef.
But within a few moments, like someone comes along and provides you with like
Jerked
some
beef.
jerky and like a couple of rolls and like like a little bit of fruit or whatever. And then she's like, it's all we could think of in short notice that you can eat while you're on the road. I hope it's enough.
Jerked beef. She's fine. There's nothing to worry about. It's just a bathhouse, whatever that is. It's not like it's a fighting pit. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
the fundamental problem here is that you have, like, a camp of 60 people who are trying to, like, pack up all of their tents and all of their things. And so, like, it will take... Yeah.
This is definitely an option.
Well,
See, honey.
she can't fly yet.
No flying,
See, honey.
unfortunately. What?
Let me ride you as a panther.
She is not big enough for you to ride her.
Hello?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Well, we've done enough to get them set up. I'd say we just go ahead.
Well, I think Ray's got a point. Tell you what, why don't me and Ray stay here and help him pack? Because I'm probably really good at quickly packing up shit as a ranger. Got to get up and move in a
Right.
fucking instant, right? And then the other three can go onto the bathhouse, and I can help Ray catch up quickly.
Plus, you
'Cause
can go all big and scary and carry more stuff.
Yeah, plus I can go all big and scary and carry more stuff.
No,
You
I
know?
think that's fine.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Ray's got a point. We should get him out of here because, and this is just from, yeah, this is, yeah, and from Veert's point of view, this is just purely selfish. The sooner we get them in here, the sooner we can fucking forget about them.
Right, that's fair. Like,
Yeah.
Barrett would be like they're in a home. People are looking after them.
Yep, we're done.
Maybe Ray will stop fucking talking about them.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
Fucking trying to, but you keep bringing them up. God.
Right.
So yes, on the surface it would seem altruistic, but in reality,
Selfish.
get them off our backs. Yep.
When you put it that way, Vert, you son of a bitch, that's great. Right, I'm up for that. You guys can help that. We'll go and check on Rhea, make sure she's not dead.
And Ray, it's real funny because this is like the first actually nice altruistic thing you've ever seen Veert do.
And then it's gonna turn out that it's not that nice.
Squinting so hard.
Oh yeah, no. The expression that I use in the D&D game I get to play in whenever somebody does something that I do not care for is audible squint.
Yes, exactly. I'll tell you who the master of the audible squint is Hillary. Hillary is the master of the audible squint. I can
Damn
hear her.
fucking right.
I
You
can
guys
hear
talk
her
about
the mom
so
glare.
much.
I can hear her squinting at me from across the room, no lie.
Oh God, I'm playing just the most ridiculous halfling rogue in that game, and people will say things, and I'll just be like audible squint. But yeah, so you and Ray set about the business of helping them pack and like move stuff around, and like it'll take like an hour or two probably for you to get everything like ready and get them moving into the city, but like that's not so terrible. It will take like significantly less time for Bosingbaugh and Siani and Lucina to like get back to the city and pass through the gates as you have those like flaming fist badges, and then make your way over to the location that you know the frolicking nymph to be at according to the map. I believe I marked it on the
Yeah, you did.
city map for you. And so I think since we're basically getting to the point where we would normally be wrapping up our weekly session at this point, um, I'm gonna leave the cliffhanger here is gonna be like you are approaching like down this kind of like busy like main thoroughfare that the bathhouse is seated upon. Um, we have like the wide shot of the press of humanity, like Baldur's Gate's citizens like going this way and that, like coming from their jobs, going to jobs, people like out doing their shopping. We have that kind of like low like barely audible and like mostly incomprehensible like droning like din of conversation of too many people in one place, right? You're probably getting jostled by people because there's a general rudeness to the citizens of Baldur's Gate where they don't tend to pay much attention to the people around them. I'm thinking kind of like New Yorkers, really. um,
Fuck those
and
guys.
Yeah, and so like when you come in sight of like the frolicking nymph, and as I said, it's got these high like 10-foot walls that have been like whitewashed this kind of like pristine white, and like the nice big gates with like the pastoral scene and the nymphs like dancing and playing in the water on them. You see like the tops of the trees like sticking up above the perimeter, and then like the bathhouse itself is like in this kind of like courtyard, and it rises up above the walls more still, right, with its kind of like red tiled roofs, and it's got kind of like a tiered roof where there's like the normal like level, and then there's kind of like a middle layer that's a little bit taller, and it has vents to let like the warm like steam out so that like the building doesn't just collapse from like keeping too much like water damage or
Yeah.
whatever.
Who doesn't get fucking too damp?
Yeah. And you're kind of like looking around as you approach, and you don't see Rhea at first, but then like in that next moment you hear a scream, and you look over and you see that there is a man who is wearing this cloak that appears to be made out of like glistening dragon scales, who has like grabbed Rhea and has literally jumped in such a way that he's flying and has pulled her up onto the rooftops and is carrying her away.
Oh boy.
And we'll find out what's happening with that next week.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing important to note, I guess, is he's grabbed her and he is like like basically like tucked her underarm like a football and is just like carrying her away. But he's heading away from the bathhouse. He's not heading towards it.
Fucking yeah, man.
Mm,
I mean, once you rescue her, you can, I suppose.
yes, rescue. Well, to be fair, it's Lucina and Siani with them, so
Yeah,
it's probably rescue.
Lucina, Siani, and Bosing Ba are the ones that witnessed her getting kidnapped. Like, there's a
Yeah.
good chance that they might actually give chase and try to figure out what the fuck is going on.
See, if it had been Verde,
I mean-
just be, that
Yeah.
sucks. That's bad luck.
Nope. Siani will be chasing that fuck.
I don't know what happened. She just was gone.
Just
And this is why
disappeared.
we left Beard at the
mystery.
camp.
This is
Truly.
why you left Beard at the camp. Yes.
And so yeah, I like really no XP to speak of this week. Mostly RP
okay.
again, which is fine. Really no piety because it was mostly shopping.
Yeah.
Which is also
We-
fine.
We,
No,
we
actually, Ray, I will give you a point of piety, Ray, because everything you fucking did was to try to make someone in the party smile.
yes.
I think
Yay.
he should get 2 piety.
You know what? Mom says you get 2.
Mom says you get 2.
Yay!
You know what though? Even though it was just a shopping episode, we got a lot done. I mean, we basically revamped the entire party minus Lucina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I do want to make a note though. Maybe I should put it in the
No.
minor role play. At Amaya, remember to talk to the party about the benefits of selling soul coins. Because I was serious. That is probably something that we should discuss. Because yeah, moral ethical bullshit. Yeah.
Oh, also, anybody that doesn't have inspiration, go ahead and take it. Because like that is the primary reward for having a mostly RP related
Mhm.
session. So definitely mark that down as well. But yeah, no, you're right. That minor roleplay channel for you two could like banter back and forth about like escorting the refugees while I'm
Yeah, we can do that.
busy like doing a chase thing next week, because like that's probably what's going to wind up happening unless like Siani or Bosing Ball pull something out of their ass that I did not expect. Which like happens to me
Or
all the time
Lucina.
as a game master. Well, I mean, I think I know what to expect from Lucina, right? Like Death Cleric is a pretty like known quantity to me.
Mm.
What stops her from wild shifting and chasing the fuck out of that guy?
Yeah, is there a reason she can't home gang
mean-
there?
You know,
I mean, I was going to ask that. How tall is a building? Could I fucking dash and double my jump to jump up on top of the fucking building and just like fucking whap that guy back down?
I mean,
Probably
We'll-
not, but Lucina's pretty strong. You can ask her to fastball special you.
we will see how it plays out next time. But yeah, keep
Yes.
all of these thoughts in mind, because I imagine that if you could get within like the 30-foot range or whatever of like Thorn Whip, you could probably also just like grab the guy and like drag him back towards you, which would definitely like arrest his forward momentum as well, right? It's just like the way chases, like from a mechanical perspective, and we'll go over this more next week, but the way chases work is like there's a set starting distance between you as the party and the person that you are chasing, and there's a bunch of like skill rolls basically that go into you trying to like close the distance while he makes rolls trying to like get away from you.
Yeah.
It's combat by other means.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she's got a few options between Thorn Whip and she can get on the same level of them, and a few wild chips I'd imagine, such as the Panther might be able of scaling to a roof.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
And there's
it's,
pounds which can be done at 20 feet.
yeah, and it's Baldur's Gate, right? Like, buildings in this town range between like 1 and 3 stories for the most part. Most things
Yeah.
aren't any taller than that. So like, it's not, and there's like drains and like downspouts and stuff. So like,
Yeah.
there are definite means by which like one could parkour up to the roof without having to have the ability to fly. It just happens to be that this particular bad guy does have the ability to fly.
Yeah.
I'll have to see where that goes next week.
Yeah.
Yep.